many of you know somebody who smokes marijuana? Currently, marijuana is illegal to be used in many places in the United States. However, studies have shown that marijuana can be used to treat various medical conditions. I have a friend who self-medicated with marijuana to manage his ADHD, and my dad self-medicates for severe back pain that he experiences. And I have had some friends in the past who use marijuana recreationally. Through this, I have an increased interest in the topic, which has led me to do some research into the history of why it became illegal in the first place, and to find out what some of the benefits, if they are, exist. In this speech, I'm going to overview the history behind why marijuana became illegal and discuss some of the reasons why marijuana should become legal for both recreational and medical purposes. Marijuana is currently illegal in all these red states here for any sort of use. And in the light green colored states, marijuana is only legal for medical use, and in the two dark green states there, marijuana is illegal for both recreational and medical purposes. But marijuana wasn't always illegal in the United States. In the early years of the United States history, cannabis, another name for marijuana plant, was an important part of the United States economy in its early years. According to PBS, in 1619, the Virginia Assembly passed legislation requiring every farmer to grow cannabis. Through the next centuries, the United States government encouraged the growing of cannabis. In the early 20th century, hashish became a fad in France and the United States. Malik Burnett, a physician at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg of Public Health, and Amanda Raymond, the manager of marijuana law policy at the Drug Policy Alliance, share in the article, How Did Marijuana Become Legal in the First Place? That in the early 1900s, just after the Mexican Revolution, we saw an increase in Mexican immigrants coming to the United States. The Mexicans brought with them their language, culture, and customs. They also brought with them what they called marijuana. When the media began to play the fears of the public, the people did not know that marijuana was cannabis, which many people had in their medicine cabinets. They also state in the article that the demonization of the cannabis plant was an extension of the demonization of the Mexican immigrants. The idea was to have an excuse to search, detain, and deport Mexican immigrants. Many stigmas were created for the groups of people who smoked marijuana. Stephen Siff, an assistant professor at Miami University of Ohio, shares that the association of murder, torture, and mindless violence with marijuana was not borne out by evidence or actual events, but blossomed thanks to the vivid imaginations of the journalists charged with sensationalizing the tired story of drug use and addiction. Again, with these ideas that people were assuming with the users helped fuel the push to make marijuana illegal. Malik and Amanda also share that during the hearings on marijuana law in the 1930s, claims were made about marijuana's ability to make men of color become violent and solicit sex from white women. This imagery became the backdrop for the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, which effectively banned its use and sales. Although marijuana has been illegal for many decades, in the recent years, states have begun to question whether this should be. In my opinion, we should fully legalize marijuana for recreational use and allow it to be implemented in many areas of the medical field. Marijuana should become legal to be used recreationally. Many people have come to believe that marijuana is linked to violent behavior, but this is not true. Studies have shown that marijuana use reduces the likelihood of violent outbursts. As researchers Peter Hawken and Sherry Stewart share in their research paper that the effects of THC, a part of the drug that affects the mind, suppress or even limit violent behavior. Although steps would need to be taken so that people don't drive while they are high, there doesn't seem to be any other reason marijuana should be illegal for recreational use. Legalizing marijuana for medical purpose will open new ways people can be treated for medical problems they have. Studies show that marijuana use relieves chronic pain. According to a survey published in the Spine Journal, 20% of their patients use marijuana to medicate. Around 90% claim that it helped relieve their pain, while 80% claim that it worked better than or at least equal to that than the effect of narcotics. Other studies show that marijuana can be used to treat mental illnesses, a few being schizophrenia and another being depression. In a review published in Schizophrenia Research shares that certain parts of the cannabis plant may be used in the management of psychotic symptoms experienced by individuals with schizophrenia. A study published in the journal European Neuropsychology suggests that THC may help relieve depression symptoms. Although these two studies are small scale, more research may further prove the ability of marijuana to treat these mental illnesses. Unfortunately, this can't happen until marijuana is either fully legalized by the federal government or at least changed from a Schedule I drug to a Schedule II drug, which would pave the path to make further research easier. In conclusion, we have talked about the history behind why marijuana became legal in the first place, and we also covered why I think it should become legal for both recreational and medical purposes. Although you may disagree with why I think marijuana should become legal for recreational use, if you take anything from this speech, it should be that marijuana should at least be legal for medical purposes.